Alright, let me get comfortable first. If anybody's wondering why I'm always laying down, I had knee surgery on both my knees, so I've been through a little bit in these past few months. Okay, you want to know about the time Tom shot himself. Well, it was back in, I think it was 2000. It was in 2000. And Tom and I had been fishing and over in Hyde County, over at Bobby's place. And we took our pistols with us just for we took our pistols with us over there just for protection, you know, whatever, just in case we saw a snake or some woodland creature, you know, whatever. And there's 3 ponds out there. 2 of them are they're for hunting purposes. They drain them and fill them back up, hunting duck and pheasant and whatnot. And Tom and I went fishing, and there was a crane that flew over there, and we tried to shoot it, but it was too far away. We couldn't hit it. And I had a P97 Ruger. Tom had a little older model. It was a P90 Ruger. So this is when I lived by myself. I was single, and I lived in town there. And we went back to my house. Tom, he stayed with me a lot back then because I mean we were both single. I don't think we were single. And we both had girlfriends, but it was before we got married, in other words. And so Tom came over all the time. He stayed with me because he worked in Peachtree City back then, so he just spent a night with me. And, you know, whatever. And my house was kind of a hangout. You know, anyway, all our friends, everybody, we party over there a lot. And anyway, so Tom and I got back later that evening, and we decided just to hang out at the house. We wasn't going out or anything like that. We were just going to stay in and drink or whatnot. And I was in the living room on the couch playing solitaire, not online or nothing like they do now, the old-fashioned way. On the coffee, you know, on the table there, I was playing solitaire. Boom, boom, boom. And Tom decided to clean our pistols, and he was at the kitchen table in the kitchen. It was the living room and the kitchen were right there together, and so Tom was in there cleaning the pistols, and he had cleaned his first. And I seen him, you take them apart, they pop apart, and, you know, Tom's cleaning them, and he had just started cleaning mine, and I seen him over there, and out of the corner of my eye, he was struggling with it or whatever. And I didn't look over there. I just thought he was having a hard time popping mine out or whatever. And when he did, all of a sudden, it's the loudest noise I ever heard in my entire life. The gun went off. And I mean, I think I might have froze for a couple of seconds. It was so loud, man. My ears were just... And so when I come to my, finally when I come to my senses, it probably was about 3 or 4 seconds. I looked over, and Tom was kind of hunched over the table. And I was thinking, oh, shit, he shot himself. So I jump up, thinking, there's going to be a lot of blood and all that. I just jump up and run into the bathroom and grab a bunch of towels. And when I got back in there, Tom was kind of hunched over, holding his hand. I thought he shot himself in the stomach. And he said, I shot myself, my hand. That's all he said. So I said, here. And I was thinking to see like a whole lot of blood. I was thinking to see a nub, to be honest with you. And I seen a few drops of blood on the table. And So we wrapped his hand up, and instead of calling 911, I mean, I live so close to the hospital, you know, I was like, come on. And my truck was in the carport, and Tom's truck was right behind me, so I was like, I got to drive your truck, dude. So I reached in his pants pockets and grabbed his, you know, keys, not trying to fill them up, just trying to get the hell out of there. And I remember, you know, people saying something like that happens, don't let them go into shock. You know, so I just kept talking to him. I said, dude, I said, we'll be there in just a second. Just, you know, just stay with me. And I had my hand, you know, I was driving like this, and I was patting him on the back. And, you know, I don't drive fast. I drive slow. But, man, that day, dude, I was flying through town. And he just kept saying, it stings, it's stinging, it's stinging. So we got to the hospital, and as soon as we pulled up over there where the ER was, there was a paramedic, somebody walking out, and I just yelled at him. I said, got a gunshot victim. He shot his hand. So they got him, and there was two of them, and they took him on inside. Then I went and parked the truck, and then we came in, and, you know, they took him right back. And so this was in the evening, man. This was probably about 9:30. And so I stayed up there, and I gave them all the information that, you know, I could or whatever, and they had him back in the back. And so I got thinking, I was sitting there, man, you know, after I calmed down a little bit, I was like, oh shit, man, was Tom drinking? I was like, if he was drinking, you know, I didn't know the law. I didn't know if he'd been drinking, if he got in trouble or whatever. Or no, I didn't know. So I was like, I got back in Tom's truck, and I just went back to my house just to make sure. And Tom had opened a beer, but he ain't started drinking it yet. It was still sitting there. So he hadn't been drinking. I just poured that beer out, and I went on back to the hospital. By the time I got back up there, the ER doctor, you know, I got to go in there where they were, and Tom was laid out. Like, he was laid out, you know, they had him full of morphine or whatever, Dilaudid, and they had a big pail set beside him, and his hand was just over there, and it was just dripping. And the doctor was facing me, I was facing, you know, doctor, and I could see Tom behind him. And the doctor was saying, look, I can't sew his hand up, you know, he's afraid of infection setting in, I gotta let it drain overnight. And so I look over, and Tom, one hand is dripping, you know, and he's flipping me off with another hand, trying to make me laugh. That's just Tom, you know, trying to be funny and making me laugh. And it was all I could do not to laugh because it was funny. Tom flipping me off, you know, and the doctor here being serious, and the idiot just shot himself, you know. And so after that, the police officer came in. Anytime there's a gunshot or a stab wound, they have to take a police report. And it was Officer Strozier, I'll never forget, because when I was telling him what happened, he's like, he couldn't believe Tom shot himself with a .45 and he still had a hand. But what happened, I don't have a clip-fed pistol, but I do have this pistol here. I don't have one on me. But what had happened, I know it's not loaded, but I don't ever keep my guns loaded, I'm just making sure. Anyway, what had happened, Tom was trying to pull the part of the gun from the top, and when he did, the barrel was stuck right here. Tom forgot to empty my clip. My gun wasn't loaded, but my clip was still in it with bullets. He chambered around. The gun went off, and the bullet went in here on this fatty part. If you feel your fat part of your hand, it went in here and came out there. Now, if it would have shot itself here, that would have been a different story. He probably would be, you know, walking around like Captain Hook now. But that's what happened, and the first person I called was my dad, because I was like, man, I gotta tell somebody. So I called Daddy, and I was like, look, you know, this is what happened. And he's like, what the hell are you y'all doing over there? Trying to kill yourself? And, you know, and Daddy was just like, I'm glad y'all are okay, and, you know, all that. And Tom and I have been raised with guns our whole lives. I mean, we knew. I mean, it just wasn't. So that's why you have to be so very careful when you handle a firearm, or, you know, any type of gun. You just gotta, you know, you gotta make sure they're not loaded, you know. And so I had to call his mom was out of town. She was in visiting her parents up there near Athens, wherever they're from. And I called Tom's dad, you know, and I said, look, Mr. John, this is what happened. I'm very sorry, but, you know, whatever. So, and then, you know, Tom and I laugh about it now. It wasn't nothing funny at the time. It was a bad thing, and, you know, about a week later, we were sitting over there at my house, and, you know, we kind of had a heart-to-heart, man. We were just saying, hey, man, if Tom would have shot himself and killed himself because I didn't take my clip out of the gun, I would have had to live with that for the rest of my life, you know. And and vice versa, if Tom would have shot me, you know. So it was, you know, it's funny now, you know, we laugh about it. It wasn't funny then. It was the scariest thing I've ever been through. And they had a write-up in the paper about it. I still have the newspaper clipping I'll show you. But that's the story of Tom shooting himself.